Hey everybody, thank you for coming to my new channel I'm introducing. My name is Robert Walker. I'm an actor, beginning novice slash producer, director, and screenwriter. And I'm introducing to you my new channel called Film Logic. And what Film Logic is going to be about is talking about the film industry, but from my perspective, from my own production company, Big Baby Bites Studios, or Big Baby Bites Films, and how I got into doing my film production company was I was inspired by a story that I just finished producing my first film. And this film is called Sketchy and subtitled Tales of the Black Doodler. And so, let me explain myself and just a little bit of summary of how this new channel came to be. First and foremost, I'm an artist, specifically a comic book artist. Well, I started into Marvel, and my first project for Marvel was a Marvel team up issue. And one of the segment of the stories in the Marvel team up issue was called Wood God. And it was a cool story. It was like an 8-page story. I started with Marvel, and I went on to do other little small projects for Marvel and everything. But it got me into the comic book industry, and so I developed my own comic books, titles outside of Marvel, which I started my own company, which is called Digital Noise, which is a publishing company I started for myself, and the titles under comic book noise, not comic book noise, but Digital Noise is Delete and The Positive Omen. So these were the two titles I started with, and then I'm a graphic artist as well. So along with doing comic books, I did other jobs working in the field of fashion as a graphic artist. So I worked with Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, all the big American designer names you could think of. I probably worked with as a graphic designer. And then in 2009, there was a big layoff because of the economy that was going down during that time. And so it was really bad. And I, was just like everybody else looking for the next job. And it was like far and few in between finding another job during that time. And I was walking through, I think it was Tribeca one day. I was just walking through Tribeca, just hanging out, and I had someone come up to me and say, "Hey, would you like to come out, and try out for a commercial?" And I did. And I was just like, what the hell? I never was into acting ever before, never thought about it, never even had an inkling of it. But I said, well, what the hell? There's nothing else to do. I don't have a job. Let me go check it out. And so it was at an advertising agency, and it was a load of actors in the room and that were auditioning. And so I was like, what the hell? I wasn't even nervous. It was like, this was an experience. Let me just try it out, whatever. I didn't have a script or anything. I didn't even know anything of a script or about back then. And so they had me. And when it was my turn, it was about 30 or 40 minutes later, they had me to go in, and it was like a whole room of people. It was like 6 or 7 people. And they wanted me to act sad or act happy, or how would I look with someone if I was attracted to someone in the street or something like that. And so I did it. I was like, okay, I had fun. I did my thing. And so I, just didn't think anything about it. And then the next week, I got called in to do a screen test. I had no idea what a screen test was. I thought it was like you had to take a test. I was telling them I took no schooling. I don't know what to do on the test. And they was like, no, no, no. We want to see what you do on camera, how you look on camera and everything, stuff like that. So I was like, okay, cool, I could do that. And it was like, when I came in that time, it was like a big camera. And it was like, I'm just gonna have fun with it and just do it. And I did it. And, I didn't think anything of it again. I was like, thank you, everything. We had fun, we were laughing and everything. And the next week they said I have it. So I was like, okay. So it was like a SAG project. I didn't know what SAG was at the moment. I didn't know what that term meant or anything like that. And this was about 10 years ago. And so I didn't know anything about what SAG was or anything like that. And so I, came on the job and they had to sign these SAG contracts and everything. I had no idea. So it was like, for that day, it was like $700, and then you get residuals because it was I think it was a commercial. It was a commercial or something. And so I did the thing. It was like the makeup. They had the makeup. They had to bring our own clothes. So I brought some good clothes and everything. They were impressed. And I did the thing. And the camera person behind it told me I should really get seriously into acting because I'm really good at it. And I was like, well, this is like a quick $700 a day just to do it for one day thing. And okay, well, let me try it out and find out what's happening. And the next thing I did, I said, well, if I'm going into acting, I better go to school for it or something because I'm just totally a new novice that I had no idea what to do, how serious acting is. And so I had a friend, and she was an actress, and she was a friend. I'm I do martial arts, and it was in my Krav Maga class, and she was one of my peers in the class, and I knew she was an actress, and so I was asking her about acting classes and everything and stuff like that. And so she referred me to an acting school. It wasn't an acting school, it was an acting class studio, and it was Susan Batson. And because she told me I would be interested in being a method actor, which I had no idea there was different types of acting. And I applied there, and then I found out method acting was an amazing point of view of acting. And it deals with, dealing with your real feelings and things like that. And so I took it. I fell in love with acting, which I had no idea I would love it. And then I got more roles after that during that time, being in different films and things like that. And it was like independent films and nothing huge, but I got independent films and things like that. And I got offers for some films and stuff like that. And, but I really fell in love also with the whole production of making films and movies and stories. And because when I was on the set, I saw what everybody's position was within the background of production. And I just found it fascinating, from the cameraman to the vocals to the recordings to the directing. And I just found it fascinating from that standpoint of doing my own stories as well as my love of acting. And I'm an artist at heart, so anything creative I find vast interest in. So I really dwelled into the world of filmmaking and editing and things like that until I kind of honed the skills of it. And so it inspired me, and what inspired me to do my first film was a story of something that happened in the 70s. And it inspired me to write my first real screenplay. And and the story was very interesting. It's very complex, and it was a part of history that actually happened. And I found that the protagonist of that story, I could play, and I could see myself play this character. And this film is called Sketchy. And so Sketchy helped me also to inspire me to write the screenplay. I started trying to see how I could get someone to film it. I did that. I had no idea of how to direct a film, but I didn't know all that entails. The few things that I did, it did entail being a director. But I was actually looking for a director, and I couldn't find anyone that could gel with my ideas. So I said, well, let me try to stab at doing it myself. So, and it's a short film. It's a short film that I was inspired to write. And so it all came to be. I got up the funds for it to do this movie production. It's a SAG short film, and but I wanted to make it a feature. But it's a short film for right now, and I'm almost finished with writing the feature film screenplay of Sketchy. But this is like the short film of Sketchy, which is called The Tales of the Black Doodler, and my feature film is just called Sketchy. So, but this is where we are today. This was like almost like a 10-year journey for me to get here. And so I was saying, with the climate today, with the virus, we can't say, and things like that. So, in ways of creation, I wanted to do a way of creating something and making it into a new platform of promoting myself and promoting my production company, which is Big Baby Bites Films or Productions. And also, so I said the YouTube channel, which I already have another YouTube channel, which is called Comic Book Noise. So, as far as me creating comics, I already know how to write stories for comics and things like that, and I have ideas for comics, which in turn will be connected with this channel called Film Logic, because my comic books will eventually become inspired me to write a screenplay from my comic book universe, which I've already wrote a feature for one of the characters from my comic book universe called Digital Noise. And so I'll reveal that later in future content that I'm going to create. But I just want to introduce myself and let you know what things are going to be focused on in Film Logic. So what I'm going to focus on, which is my film production, my first film production, which is Sketchy, and it's going to talk about how Sketchy was inspired, how I wrote the screenplay of it, the people that I worked with. Hopefully I could do interviews with the people that I worked with on the film. I'm going to talk about the subject of what inspired this film. And it's very interesting that I'm going to take this platform to promote my production. And also it's going to talk about the film industry within itself and how I want to explore new ways of promoting my films and my production. And share ideas with everyone else in the film community. I know Hollywood has changed since the virus that we can't name or say has changed Hollywood and the movie and film industry, right? Like right now, the film industry is kind of slowed down or really hurting because now, because of the situation, people are at home, staying home and can't go out and can't go in groups as to the theaters as we used to. And so now it's all about basically streaming or seeing content online, which is very convenient in a way. And even like big major studios are putting their films on streaming instead of the theaters. They're kind of putting things in the theaters, but look at HBO Max. HBO Max just put out Wonder Woman, a big Wonder Woman 2 on their streaming when it first put open. That's a blockbuster movie. And they plan to put on the rest of their blockbuster films on their streaming channel, which is HBO Max. This is how this pandemic has changed the film industry. And I think it's a big opening for independent creators of the film industry to shine. And it won't be such a monopoly that Hollywood has a hold on the industry as it has in the past. I think it's extremely changing right now. And we can see other ideas instead of the manufactured ideas that Hollywood wants to bring out and what Hollywood wants us to see and discover new artists, discover new actors, discover new creators in the film industry that Hollywood has overlooked. I think this is a great opportunity for us creators, independent or professional, not independent, but professional or union or whatever you want to call it, to shine. And we can have more freedom to create more content for people to be seen and heard. So this is what Film Logic is going to be about. It's going to focus on, of course, my production company, Big Baby Bite Studios. It's going to focus on the details of me creating my film productions. It's also going to create it's not create, but it's also going to focus on the film industry within itself and how it's changing and how I see it's changing and where it may be going or not. And it's also going to explain the creative process of creating a film. So again, thank you for coming to my channel, and I hope you subscribe and like this first content I'm creating for my YouTube channel, which is called Film Logic, and enjoy the journey that I'm going to go on. And there's so many surprises for me and you as I take this journey with Film Logic. And be safe, be careful, and take care.